There are 6 Democratic contests this week, 3 on Tuesday and then 3 more on Saturday. Bernie Sanders could go 5 for 6, possibly even 6 for 6. That would be a game changer, right? Well, there's momentum and then there's math. Take a peek here. Hillary Clinton heading into this week has about 330 delegate lead. These are just pledged delegates. This does not involve any of the superdelegates. 330 lead in pledged delegates. Now let's say that Bernie Sanders wins them all right here in the West on Tuesday. Now the Clinton campaign says, wait a minute, we're competitive in Arizona. We might win Arizona, but just for the sake of the hypothetical, say Bernie wins them all on Tuesday. Then say he wins 3 more, all out West, Alaska, Hawaii, Washington State on Saturday. Bernie Sanders, if he won all 6 of those contests 55-45, he would cut Hillary Clinton's lead the beginning of the week 330, the end of the week 302. Somewhere in that ballpark. So he would make a little ground, but not a lot. Hillary Clinton says, I'm so far ahead that even if you have a big week like this, you can't catch me. Why don't you tone it down, Senator Sanders? He says such talk, though, is reckless.
It would be extraordinarily undemocratic to tell the people in half the states in America, oh, you don't have a right to get involved in the nominating process for the Democratic candidate. If you write off, or if you say to half the states in this country that they should not participate, their response may well be on election day, well, you didn't want us to participate in the primary process. You know, we're not going to come out for the general election.
Oh. But it's, so Bernie Sanders is essentially saying, you know, my supporters, if you ignore us, if you treat us with disrespect, we won't be there in November. But how does he manage this moment in the sense that he could have a huge week? He could win 6 contests. He could win 5 of 6 contests and make barely a scratch in her delegate math, which is going to, his supporters are going to be all revved up. Here comes Bernie. But
problem is that a lot of Democrats and frankly a lot of media are also not treating this like this race is still going on. So I think that is his main challenge, is that he needs to have a bunch of wins and then say, look at how well I did. It's not justifiable that people are not treating this for real. He does still have this incredible low-dollar support base, which I think will continue to fund him, especially if he has a bunch of wins. His argument is not particularly different than what Hillary Clinton said in 2008 when she was running against Barack Obama, and I have been expecting his campaign would say more of that. His language is also, or excuse me, his remarks in substance are not that different than what Donald Trump is saying either. It's just that the tone is very different. But I do think that mathematically it is becoming extremely hard for them to make a credible case, and they have changed their argument, the Sanders campaign. Before it was that, you know, superdelegates shouldn't count. Now they're looking towards superdelegates, and I think that becomes difficult to navigate.
And his point about staying home in November actually does cause a lot of fear for Clinton folks, and they realize that as much as she can talk about saying get out or suggest get out, they have to be very careful about that, because should those young voters especially stay home in certain states, it could rob her of winning places like Colorado, Nevada, you know, even perhaps places like Pennsylvania if you have to make up a margin against a Trump. So they have to be very careful. They know, though, that this is going to be a rougher week for them potentially because he will win. The problem is if he doesn't win with like 80% plus in each of these contests, he will not catch her.